Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host, Hena Zuberi, and welcome to another episode of Justice for All Now on Muslim Network TV, America's only Muslim focused TV channel. You can watch us on Satellite Galaxy 19, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Today, we'll be discussing the Rohingya genocide 6 years after. Now, Burma is the second largest country in mainland Southeast Asia, and it's also known as Myanmar. The country is bordered by China, Thailand, Bangladesh, and India. Over the decades of conflict, more than 2 million Burmese have been forced to seek refuge abroad, particularly in Thailand and Bangladesh. The Rohingya are a group of an Muslim ethnic group indigenous to the land. There were approximately 1.1, some say 2 million Rohingya in Burma in 2017, comprising roughly around 4% of the country's population. And most of them resided in the western coastal state of Arakan, or Rakhine State. In 1978, the Burmese military carried out killings, rape, and arson against the Rohingya, forcing about 200,000 to flee. 4 years later, the government enacted the Myanmar Citizenship Law and officially stripped the Rohingya of their citizenship. The government justified this by claiming that the Rohingya were Bengali, even though the Rohingya had been living in that land for generations. The Rohingya were left stateless, subject to restrictions on freedom of movement and property ownership, denied access to education, and unable to hold public office. And then came 2017, when the Burmese military entered Muslim neighborhoods and conducted the most atrocious forms of persecution, fueled by hate speech on social media like Facebook. The Tatmadaw historically targets crops and resources to starve and kill minority groups without drawing international community's attention. Once the army gains control of an area, the military uses forced labor to build bases from which they can attack and burn surrounding villages, as well as mining the raised areas to discourage returns. Rohingya and the Karen people have been routinely subjected to forced labor, human trafficking, and child labor. Recruiting child soldiers is a method used by the military to strip these minorities of their identity. Now, the recent violence since 2017 directed at the Rohingya has produced the fastest refugee movement since 1994 Rwanda genocide. In just 3 months in 2017, over 750,000 Rohingya fled the country for safety in neighboring Bangladesh. They joined over 300,000 refugees who had fled earlier waves of violence. Thousands of Rohingya are still crossing the border, whether through boats or walking. As of March 2019, almost 1 million Rohingya refugees have been registered in Bangladesh. However, in April of 2020, the Bangladeshi foreign minister declared that the country would no longer accept more Rohingya as refugees. What we hear from people in the camps is Rohingya just want to go home. To discuss what's the current situation and the status of the Rohingya people, we'll be talking with our guests, Imran Muhammad, Maung Nu, and Azimah Jalil. Imran Muhammad is a stateless Rohingya. He is self-taught. That's the most amazing thing about him. He's from Burma, and he's currently doing a double major in social work and journalism at Buffalo State University. Imran is also a writer and a human rights activist. He has written extensively about his experiences as a stateless Rohingya refugee and those of other asylum seekers and refugees around the world. He's been deeply involved in creating awareness of the lives of refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants in the United States and abroad. Welcome, Imran.
Thank you, Sister Hannah.
We also have with us Maung Nu, also known as Muhammad Noor, a human rights activist engaged in humanitarian work through his organization, the Rohingya National League. He has a degree in political science from California State University, Los Angeles, and is currently pursuing a Master's of Business Administration at Northeast Missouri State University. As executive director of the Rohingya National League, he's committed to serving and advocating for the freedom of his community. Welcome, Muhammad Noor.
Thank you. Thank you.
We also have with us Azimah Jalil. Azimah is also a stateless Rohingya from Burma. She's a human rights activist who's utilizing her knowledge to empower Rohingya girls and women here in the United States and around the world. Welcome, Azimah.
Thank you, Sister Hannah.
So, we know the past, and we've worked on this together as the Burma Task Force. All of us have lobbied together and spoken to people in Congress and State Department across whoever would listen to us about the Rohingya genocide. But today I want to talk about the current situation. What is the situation of the Rohingya people in Burma? Because a lot of people forget that there are still Rohingya in Burma. And then we'll talk about Bangladesh and other parts of the world where Rohingya refugees are located. So, Imran, if you could give us some insight on what is the current situation of Rohingyas in Burma.
The current situation is, the world doesn't know what's happening because the first thing is we are stateless and people cannot go to our state, our current state. So the world doesn't know what's happening in our current state, and people are still suffering, and there is IDP camp, and they don't have access to food, they don't have access to healthcare, and they are struggling on a daily basis. But we are not getting the daily report from the media. But we do have our relatives, and keeping us up to date. So the first concern that I have for our people who are still stuck in our current state, they don't want to leave. They don't want to go somewhere else. They just want to live their lives in our current state. But to do that, they need freedom. They need to be recognized as a citizen of Myanmar. So everyone knows about the law that was established in 1982, right? The constitution excluded Rohingya. That means we are not part of the country. So to have our freedom, to have our right, to have the ability to work and to have the ability to get an education, we need to be included in the constitution. If we can do that, then they will have a peaceful life. If we can't change the constitution, we cannot have a peaceful life. It doesn't matter how much work we are doing outside of Myanmar. Nothing will change for these people because we have to change the constitution. We have to have the ability to be involved politically. We have to have the ability to get an education. We have to have the ability to uh, work in our own country. Then we can change the situation of our people. So my concern, my message to the world is that instead of focusing on little things, we have to see the bigger picture. So we have to change the constitution. If we are included in the constitution, then we have the ability to say that we are part of this country, and I am allowed to work here. I'm allowed to get an education, and then I am able to do things that other citizens are allowed to do in the country. So if we can't do these things, if we can't change the constitution, nothing will change and people will continue to suffer. And you saw the trend, what happened. Since we got our independence in 1948, the genocide had started a long time ago. People just didn't know what happened because it's just slow motion of genocide, because it started from a long time ago, because people started living like a long time ago, so many decades ago. We have people who are stuck in India, Pakistan, in Saudi Arabia, in other countries because they experienced genocide a long time ago, but the world just didn't know. In 2017, when that even happened, then the world started noticing what's happening, and a lot of people knew that, oh, okay, there are Rohingya people who are suffering genocide. That's when people knew, but no, the genocide had started many decades ago, and people started leaving the country a long time ago. So you can see that we have people, Rohingya people, who are living in Bangladesh, in India, in Saudi Arabia. Maybe some people don't even know that there are a lot of Rohingya who are living in Pakistan, in Karachi, in Saudi Arabia, and people don't even know that what's happening with them, and they have no idea about their situations because people are just
Yeah, so
focusing on Russian.
So, from what I understand, is that there are still many Rohingya people in Burma under the military government. As everybody knows, there was a military coup, and the military has taken over um, the government of Burma or Myanmar. And so, this idea of being able to change the constitution, I believe, would now perhaps all citizens of Burma would recognize this because they themselves are now the victims of the same military that hunted down the Rohingya people. Maung Nu, I would like to talk to you about what is the status of the Rohingya people who are in the camps currently.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for giving us today to discuss about the Rohingya genocide. Let me give some briefing about the genocide before I'm going to answer your question. Why Burmese government committed against Rohingya people has three reasons. One reason is we are being Muslim. We believe Islam. Second reason is we are indigenous people of Arkhan. Third reason is we have own identity, language, culture. We are different than others. That's the reason they committed genocide against Rohingya people. Burmese government fear Rohingya people will take back this land in near future. That's why they all Burmese military, politicians, activists, student leaders, all other minorities leaders come together, cooperate, coordinate with Burmese military against Rohingya people. Let me share my concern about the refugee camp. Right now, refugee camp is very dire situation. People is fear to live there. People is running to life to save their own brother, sister, and daughter because there are a lot of gang is killing each other and no safety and security. Bangladesh government not provide proper way to protect Rohingya refugee in the camp. Every day people killing, torturing, and then murdering, and kidnapping going on, and then a lot of people fleeing, taking a boat to risk their life, flee to taking the risk by a small boat. So a lot of people killing. We read the news right now in the camp. People not getting well education, people not getting well healthcare, and then also restriction movement. People cannot move one camp to another. So this is the like open prison. I will say that's the open prison is not different as Burmese military committed genocide. They're openly committed genocide in Burma, but in Bangladesh, they're like open prison. They have no future, no life to survive. They are every day many youth calling us. They are they are fear to live there. They want to leave from the camp or taking the risks their life to going out or taking the boat. So US government or international community to pressure to negotiate with the Bangladesh authority to give safety and security refugee camp? Why they are giving the such as gang people, the group control the camp, killing the people, no giving, not giving education. So this is the very, very urgent concern for safety. Children, last week, one 12 years boy killed by gang member. They fighting each other, and many women have been raped. Unknown people. Why is that happen? Even though government is there, there's the political motion there. Something political motion to distract, to destroy the community, to get in intention from international community. So we have to talk the Bangladesh authority to find out for the stability of the camp. So why, if you look the in Thailand, that Thailand have also refugee camp. Indonesia have also refugee camp. If you look by other, Jordan have a refugee camp. Africa, if you look, why is the different situation? Why is not there happening such as the criminal activities? Why in the Rohingya refugees that going on this kind of activities?
That's a very important question that you're asking. That's a very important question that you're asking. Why is the situation in the camps in Bangladesh different from camps around the world? Now, Bangladesh denies refugee status to the Rohingya genocide survivors. Genocide survivors don't have access to any income generating activities, which is also known as the right to work. And the US government did the right thing in reportedly raising this issue with Dhaka, that Rohingyas don't want handouts. They want to live with dignity. So Azimah, if you can talk a little bit about the right to work and being able, and what impact that is having on the situation in the camps.
Thank you. Well, being able to work in the camp not just will uplift the burden on the family, but it will also help the families in terms of earning income, supporting the families. They will be able to put children in school. And because right now what happening in the camp is that people are dependent on the funds, dependent on the aids from the international communities, and that's are not enough for the people inside the camp. And if they are able to work and be able to support the families, that will not just help them in terms of providing nutrition to the children, and also you will be able to help putting children in school, different activities, and they will be able to live with dignity. Because right now, even in the camp, it's same as living in our Arkan. People are not able to move from one camp to another. They are not able to work. They are not able to get basic educations. They don't have access to any healthcare, and these people need healthcare because in the camp in Bangladesh, they are extremely overcrowded, and it's not safe for people living in very small shelters with like 10 family members in a small room. So I think at least being able to work will make these people hopeful, and it will lift a little bit of burden from the international communities who are sending funds.
And that's something that you just brought up, that if you could expand on that a little bit, that these communities, the funds that were coming in, the World Food Program has recently cut funding. So could you tell us how much exactly a family is even receiving that is living in the camps?
Well, last time what I heard is if you convert the amount from the Bangladeshi taka to US dollar, it's like every family is receiving only $4 for one day. So you can imagine if a family have 7 people and you're only providing them $4 to support for the whole day. So you can imagine if they have a baby who need formulas or need diapers or need vitamins or different type of vitamin supplement, or if you are having an elderly person who require extensive medical health care, who require extra medical needs, and receiving only $4 in terms of food, water, shelter, clothes, basic needs, and supplies for educations, and everything included in that $4, after they deducted the World Food Program. So you can only imagine what are these people going through just surviving with $4 for a family of 7 people.
Well, we're going to discuss this and much more after we take this short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So we've been talking about the Rohingya genocide 6 years later. We have with us Imran Muhammad, who's a stateless Rohingya refugee currently living with us in the United States. Okay, so Imran, I wanted to talk about what are some of the largest challenges that Rohingya people face. We've talked about some of them, and some of them are regularly talked about and discussed, but there's some that aren't discussed often. So, in your analysis, what are some of those challenges?
Well, there are a lot of issues that we have to focus to change the situation of our people. But if we are like narrowing down our focus, the first thing is the education. And when I'm talking about education, it's about formal education. It's not just providing some books and sending some teachers to teach them. I mean, I have to change that terminology to keep people busy. That type of education will not change the situation of our people. We need formal education. For example, we know, if we are talking about, oh, okay, we are talking about repatriation, it's never going to happen. It never happened in the past. So just be real. We don't know if it's going to happen because it didn't happen, and there is no possibility, or there is no chance for people to go back home anytime soon. So okay, what do we need? We need formal education. We need to get the certificate that are recognized by the international community or in different countries, not just some books, not just some teachers. That's what I'm talking about in the camps. And then the right to work. While we are stuck in the camp, I know, it's a big issue. We cannot change the situation overnight. So be realistic. Let them work, because if you let them work, then they will become independent. And there are a lot of youth, they don't have to work, and they wake up in the morning, they don't know what to do next. So if they are allowed to work, it will change their situation substantially, because they will be stable emotionally and mentally. And then if they are resettled somewhere, or if they go back to Myanmar, they will have a good mind to contribute to their country, or to contribute to their adopted country. And that's the second thing. And then also, we need to focus on the children's mental health and also physical health. We have nearly 1 million children. They are stuck in the refugee camps. They don't have access to education. They don't have access to healthcare. Don't have access to anything. So what's going to happen? We are going to have a lost generation if we don't work on these few issues immediately.
Those are some very points to think about: a lost generation, the mental health of young people who are stuck in this camp, like an open prison that Maung Nu has talked about. Now, Maung Nu, the United States consistently sends money, $6.6 billion over the past decade or so. Can you talk about, especially since 2017, can you talk about accountability and transparency? Where is that money going? What changes have you seen in the camps because of the billions of dollars being sent there?
Thank you for asking me this great question. We are very concerned about the funding because when we talk about the from the camp, we have a good connection. Our relative there, our friend is there, our villager is there. We know we have every camp, we have a volunteer, we have friend, relative, so we know what is going on there. When we talk with the refugee, they are calling every day, but they didn't get any support from organization. For example, medical, a lot of people suffer in the medical, very, very, very serious situation. So they ask for money, but they cannot get a permission to go out of the camp. They have no, over there have only one clinic lead by the Turkish government. So they doesn't have much about the take care of the patient. So how funding going there? That's our concern. If we look the education, no proper education there. They have education there, but it's not right good teacher there. No good management there. So how this kid, more than 200,000 kid there, not getting proper primary to high school education. So they need, when we talk about the State Department, so we raise this question, like for example, if after 5 years, 6 years, this kid, 100,000, 200,000 kid losing their education, if you United States or international community give a high school certificate, like graduation certificate, so they have a future. They
Mhm.
have a can get a chance to study abroad, can get a chance to admit any university, any college. If they doesn't have any certificate, GED certificate, so their life is you know nothing there. What is their life? 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. So we ask the question, United States government, State Department, why you not providing education? Like for example, they can grant the money to university, United States university based in US, or any high school, private high school. Say, okay, $10 million we invest, so you can provide the high school certificate, right? So they can go to the camp, they can establish the exam the office there, exam office there, and then they have a lot of Rohingya youth who can teach their kid. So we can hire the volunteer. They can study, they can learn, and then they can take exam. So when they pass the exam, they have right, they have a certificate. They can go anywhere in the world to study, you know, to change their life. That's not going to happen. And when we look about the youth movement, youth development, a lot of people talking about the youth development. No one taking any initiative.
Mm.
Wallah, no Muslim Ummah, 57 country, billionaire, trillionaire, they are rich. There are too many rich, the multi-billionaire there, rich country there. For example, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, the other, Arab country, Malaysia, Indonesia. What they taking initiative? Just talking, just releasing the statement. A statement is cannot save human life. Concern is cannot save human life. Condemn is cannot save human life. We need political action.
Mm.
We need political support. Your concern is Burmese government doesn't care your concern. Burmese military doesn't care about your statement. United Nations resolution, thousand resolution passing. They doesn't care about the resolution, about the concern, about the condemn. They care about the action, political action.
On the ground.
When you
Exactly.
look to 1994, United Nations is there. I was there in Arkansas State. I was forced labor. 1994, I was 12. I was 8 years old.
Mm.
United Nations is there. United Nations know well is going genocide there. We cannot move one village to another. 1994, I'm talking about 1994, almost 24 years.
24.
United Nations there. My father killed by military intelligence, 1994. A lot of people, when I was 8 years old, I have access to enter the military intelligence camp. I see a lot of people have been killed in front of my eyes. Torture, killed, rape, a lot of killed, a lot of youth disappear. Like my age, 8 years old boy, have to work every 2 days for the military, build the pagoda, castration. Can you imagine? United Nations, well, no. United Nations have a fully responsible for the genocide. We
Yes,
need
they
to
have a
bring United
responsibility
Nations.
to
We
protect
need to
what
bring
they don't
United Nations for the accountability because they know well why they not exposed. Why they not expose Rohingya situation? They know well. Why they not release any statement? Why they not seek the UN Security Council to talking about going to genocide in Arkan state? I am talking about 1994. I was 12 years old. I was 8 years old that time. They know we cannot move. We have to take a permission for the authority for marriage. It will take 3 4 years. We cannot go to a school after high school. We
Mhm.
cannot marry each other. We cannot move one place to another. If we go to a school, Buddhists came to beat us, torture us. Every day they torture us, they beat us. Can you imagine? United Nations, no. Well, no. We have to bring United Nations first for the responsibility for the genocide, accountability for the genocide. We Muslim American community have to work for that, to bring United Nations. That is
And
my
even
prospect.
now, there is a case in the International Court of Justice. So, if all of you would like to give your perspective on that case, what's the status of the case that was brought on by Gambia? So, if we could have your input on that.
Of course, I am beaten. My nephew, 2020, assassinated by military general. My nephew, he is the engineer. He is an engineer. He is a lecturer at the Yangon University. He working for the cooperation with the China government and Burmese government. Working, he is the junior engineer there. So they don't know he's a Rohingya. They don't know he's a Muslim. When they find out he's a Muslim, when they find out he's a Rohingya, they assassinated my nephew, 2020, in the working field. They killed my nephew because he's been Muslim. He's been Rohingya working in the government corporation.
Mm. Imran and Azima, if you'd like to give your points of view as well.
I'm just concerned about the length of the process because that's the critical part. The world is talking about the issues. They talk about the issues for a while, and then it's when something is taking a long time, and then they forget about the Rohingya issues. So when the case was established, and the world talked about it, but after that, now the world is silent. No one is talking about the Rohingya issues because there are other issues that are talked about. So that's the concern that I have about the case because we don't know what's going to happen and how long it's going to take and what would be the result. And so in the meantime, I'm concerned about our people. They are suffering, and their suffering is increasing on a daily basis. So it's a good thing that we have been recognized. The genocide has been recognized internationally, and it's a very positive move. But at the same time, we have to keep pressuring the Myanmar's government and also the international community, and we have to raise our concerns about their lives on a daily basis. That's the difficult part. I don't know how to do that. We have to establish our relationship with everyone, with all the organizations, with NGOs, with the governments, so that we can really focus on these issues on a daily basis so that we can change something. Because, from my experience, since I left my country, nothing has changed for our people, to be honest. Nothing for better. But everything has changed for worse.
I have similar thought as well when it's come to the International Court of Justice. It's been a very long time now. It shouldn't be taking that long since we're talking about the genocide survivors, since we're talking about the situation in Burma and in Bangladesh. And it shouldn't be taking that long to decide. Also, when Aung San Suu Kyi came to the International Court of Justice, she denied most of the allegations, and since then, we don't see any steps or any actions are taken by international communities from United Nations, and things are getting worse. I just want to give you a little bit about the situation in Burma. I'm talking about like in 2008 or 2009. When I was growing up a little bit, like I can ask questions like why things are different for us compared to the Burmese people that live in the Butidong. So there is no schools in all the villages. So the village that I was from, we only have school that only goes like from first grade to second grade. So there's only one high school or two, three high school that are inside the town where all the majority of Burmese live, and there is no college or there is no secondary education for Rohingyas at all. Even when I was trying to get into a school, I have to change my name because it was illegal for a Rohingya to get an education. So I have to change my name to a Burmese name in order to get an admissions. But they made it just so difficult for Rohingya just to even think about educations. You have to pay double price. It's expensive for Rohingya, and and if you want to go for higher educations, you are not allowed to because they've put strictly restrictions on movement. And you are even one time my grandma, she came 3 miles walking to our home. She have to go back same day because she does not report it to the local authority in Burma, so she have to return back to her home same day, because that's how this genocide is not just happened in 2017. It's happened very, very long time ago. I heard from my grandma saying that they experienced genocide. It was like 2017, I mean 1970, and no one has reported because in our Khan we don't have no social media, we don't have no reporters, and we are not allowed to be a doctor, hold any positions. So in our Khan everything is controlled by the government system. They make the rule for us, they make all the rules, all the policies, they hold all the authorities. So we have no power in government at all, and that's how they gain all the powers from Rohingya, and then started slow genocide, because no one can go inside the Arkan, no one can come out of the inside the Arkan. If you do, there is severe punishment, whether like that, you are being killed, or they will put you in prison for life. So in order to solve the problem, I know we brought the case to the International Court of Justice, but everything has to come from the ground, and we have to have leaders in our Khan state from Rohingya people who can make the rules, who can go to like different villages. People can move from one village to another. People can go to schools. I think this will change then we can move forward. If you're just talking about the crisis in Bangladesh, in other part of the world, but it's not going to solve anything unless it change come from the ground, which are we need to have a political power in our Khan where we can hold position, make the rules for Rohingya. That will benefit for Rohingya, because now everything is made by the government. We don't have representative in the government building, in Senate or in military powers, and we don't have nothing basically. So I think we have to work from the ground, and then international communities have to put more attention in the ground inside the Burma at the same time in Bangladesh.
Now that leads me right into my next question. So every movement needs leadership. Who are the current leaders and emerging leaders of the Rohingya people, whether they're in Burma, in Bangladesh, or in the diaspora?
I'm just gonna go first since I'm here. There is no leaders in Burma, I would say, because I just want to give you a little bit brief about, my grandpa. He's a doctor, but it was illegal for him to practice. So you can tell, you are not allowed to hold any political positions in Burma. You can't be a teacher, you can't be a lawyer, you can't have access to education, and everything is favored in Burmese government, but So there is no leaders in Burma. That's where the situation is getting worse day by day. And because we are deprived of education for so many decades, now all the Rohingyas that reside in our countries are illiterate. They don't know what's going on. They don't speak Burmese. They never went to school. There is no leaders for Rohingyas. So when the Burmese military come in the village, now there is no communication happening between Burmese and the Rohingyas, and it's very difficult because there is no leaders, and these people does not know where to go inside the Burma, who to ask for help. And the situation is getting worse and worse because there is no leaders, and the Burmese militaries can do anything they want because they can just come to a village and shoot everybody because there
Mm.
is no leaders, there is no protection at all, and same as other countries as well.
Gentlemen, what about you all? Who do you think are the emerging leaders or the current leaders of the Rohingya people? And this may be a very politically loaded question. Um, and I understand that I see people's faces, I see people giving speeches and claiming leadership roles. But in order really for the Rohingya people to you know, have a movement or have like there's from what I can see, I have not seen a cohesiveness in there's not even a flag there that you can say is the flag of the Rohingya people or um, a word that is even used to describe your genocide. When I compare, and it's terrible to compare, but when you make that comparison to, for example, the Palestinian people who have had some at least recognition around the world in their movement, and maybe you can learn, your people can learn from them what they're able to do and what mistakes they made and what they didn't make. At least they have a word for their exodus from Palestine. They call it the Nakba. There's a flag for the Palestinian people. So do you think because of the lack of leadership, there's this vacuum, or is it the other way around?
I would ask Brother Manu to go first.
Okay, inshallah. I will try my best. Honestly, I am very straightforward.
Mhm.
I have not used any diplomacy between community members talking with the State Department or official. I will use my diplomacy theory with the Burmese military, only for Burmese military, not between brother to brother, ummah to ummah. No diplomacy between ummah. Straightforward, truth. I speak. All the time I speak truth, most of the people hate me in the community. I'm very famous in the community, people, because most of the people hate me because I speak to the truth. I speak all the time injustice. If even any a small injustice happening, I speak up. I talk about that. I against them directly. I'm not use any diplomacy. Let me tell that we don't have a Z leader at the moment. We have a leader, community-based leader, activist-based leader, social media-based leader. They have some followers. Each of them have certain followers, not like a Martin Luther King, not like a you know some the like kind of civil rights leader, Malcolm X. If if we can find a solution if we have a like Martin Luther King leaders, like a the Malcolm X, brave, honesty, and know well about the Burmese politics, how to tackle them, how to fight them politically, to bring all the resources, international community, to bring all resources for the community, the sake of for the Rohingya people, the sake of freedom for the Rohingya people. Honesty is very important, integrity, transparency, and then justice. If I don't have justice, how I looking for justice for my people?
Mm.
I have to be just. I, for myself, have to be. I have to be just. I have to be equal for all people. I have to take responsible equally all people. Islam teaches right? Islam teaches honesty, integrity, transparency. Sake of Allah, you give time for the sake of Allah. You give your wisdom for the sake of Allah. You give your wealth for the sake of Allah. If we have this, wallah, we can change entire situation, the whole world with us, all the world community leaders with us. Today we are still, Burmese government is still destroying the Rohingya, pushing the Rohingya. Two elements in the Arkan state at the moment is the AA, Arkan army, Buddhist is leading by Buddhist army. It's called AA, Arkan
Mhm.
army. Is the militant in the Arkan state. They torturing the Rohingya people. They killing every day. I report to the State Department last 2 months ago. About 28 people have been killed. 28 people have been killed. I got a report from the ground, but we don't know how many people have been killed, how many
Mm.
women have been raped by Buddhist militant, AA, Arkan army. What is the responsibility? Where is the justice for the Rohingya people? Burmese military killing Rohingya people, and the Buddhist militant also killing Rohingya people, torturing every day, kidnapping every day Rohingya elders, Rohingya educated person. Two element is inside the Arkan, destroying the Rohingya life, pushing Rohingya, remaining Rohingya, pushing to Bangladesh every day, killing people, every day torturing people. Why is the international community is any speaking up about the criminal activities, militant activities in the Arkan state? No one. Wallah, no one.
Well, thank you for your input. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We've been discussing 6 years after the Rohingya genocide. And even just that title denotes that perhaps this genocide just took place 6 years ago. But as you have been listening to our guests, this has been a slow burning genocide taken over several decades. I really wanted to ask our guest, Azimah, about the current status of women, especially Rohingya women, in Bangladesh and in the diaspora. It's great to see young Rohingya women speaking up. Um, I remember when I first started this work, there was no one. It was all Rohingya men who would be speaking on behalf of Rohingya women. I think there was just the one lawyer, Sister Razia from Bangladesh camps in the early times. And now, mashallah, there are lots of young women who are speaking up and talking about the Rohingya woman experience. But in and I know you work with young people here in the United States and in the camps. So can you tell me what is happening? What are the concerns of our Rohingya sisters?
Thank you for these questions. And yes, I'm very glad to be part of this show, or part of being a Rohingya woman and be their vocal voice. And yeah, the situation is very difficult. You can say, especially in our culture, when the opportunity is given to men, because the resources are very limited. And if you look at about the background, the situation before the genocide happened, like when I was my young age, if I was growing up in Burma, my family will choose my brothers to go to school than me, because there is no opportunities for women. There is no job for women. There is no job securities for the women available. So usually the family choose boys to go to school. So at least they will be able to support the whole family. So in Bangladesh or in diaspora countries, or even here in the US, many women or many girls do not have the opportunity to go to schools. They have to either look after their family, or it's very difficult. Education is very expensive, and countries like I'm not talking about the US or Canada, but other third world countries where Rohingya are, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia. These countries does not recognize any Rohingyas, so it's illegal for us to seek education. As a woman, it's make even more 3 times harder than a male to get educations. First of all, you have to think about women's security, women's safety. Girls cannot get educations because, especially in the camps, it's very, very risky for any girls or any woman to travel to a different camp or to a nearest school or facilities to get education, because there are very high chance of rape, there are very high chance of human trafficking, there are very high chance of being killed or getting lost. And it's made it even more difficult, especially in the camps. You are not allowed, you don't have any money, there is no enough resources provided for Rohingya girls especially. And you also have to think about the cultural side of it, because in our cultures, women and men cannot go to school in the same schools. So the limited resources that we have in the camps are only designated for the men. So which discouraged girls going to school, and then families also don't feel safe to send their girls to school because it's very unsafe. And inside the Arkan, I have few cousins that goes to school, and one of them already graduated. She's crying to me, said she want to go to a college, but she is it's very difficult because she doesn't have any legal status in Arkan. She can't go to Yangon or any or in Gund is the easiest, the closest state to go to college, but she is unable to because she does not have any legal documents to travel. Even though you are in your own country in Burma, you need legal status because you are a Rohingya. And our women want educations. And even myself, if I was in Burma, who knows, today I will be end up with 3 kids without educations. Because I got the opportunity, today I'm here, pursuing my degree in nursing, and I'm going for my nurse practitioner. I want to specialize. So this happened because I had the opportunities. And all of our girls, all of our women want that opportunity so that they can pursue their dreams. They are able to support themselves, the family, contribute to the society, and contribute to the to the whole country. Because as a woman is educated, she cannot just support herself, she can advocate for her family, for the community, for the whole entire society within that. So I think lack of opportunities for the girls made it very difficult.
Wow. So one thing that's clear from all of you is that the change needs to come from the ground. The change needs to come from within Burma itself. And I know regularly people are starting to call it Myanmar, but my Rohingya activists that I've learned from, mentored me, have told me that they prefer to use the word Burma because Myanmar is a name that the military has imposed on the people. So I will continue to call it Burma. Despite what, currently the military dictatorship is in place. And despite Western isolation, Asian countries have remained willing to continue investing in Burma, particularly in natural resource extraction. And the country has close relations with neighboring India and China, both which are conducting genocides of their own, and has received hundreds of millions of dollars in military aid from these two countries. And this has resulted in an increase of foreign direct investments in the country, particularly from Asian countries such as China and Singapore. And China is a permanent member on the UN Security Council and has also been able to use its veto power to defeat any resolution addressing the conflict due to China's political interests in Burma. Now, keeping all of that in mind, what is the way forward? How do we make what you all are envisioning as the change that needs to come in the lives of the Rohingya people? And it seems like, a really difficult situation becoming even more difficult. But what are the rays of hope, perhaps, that make you believe that there may be some change on the ground?
I can go. So Thank you, Sister Hannah, so much for these questions. So I'm gonna go backward a bit, just to um, educate the audience about the effect of genocide. So, we are Muslim. Yes, I believe in Muslim Islam, and the first verse that came to us, came to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was Iqra. That's the verses that we receive at the beginning, and it means like read. And that's exactly what the Burmese government did. They didn't let us read,
Mm,
so they made us illiterate. So leading an illiterate community will never be easy. The more 95% of our population is illiterate. How are you going to lead this community? Because they are mentally unstable. You know, when I was growing up, I had fear in my head 24 hours a day. That's how I grew up. And that's the situation of every individual from our community. How are we going to lead this community? So, I'm not blaming anyone within my community. I'm going to blame the Burmese authority. This is the attack that they impose on our people. They made us illiterate, so so that we cannot be involved politically, so that we cannot get involved with any other things. Because if you don't have the knowledge, then you don't understand the world that you are living in. That's one thing. And also, now the crisis has started, right? And then now we are all over the place. We have a lot of leaders, we have a lot of people who are doing individual work from their places. It- but our work is not effective because our work is not united, because we are in different places, and we don't have the to be honest, we don't have the finance to unite our work and make our work powerful enough to make a change.
mm,
And we see, I go to university, I see there are a lot of Buddhist students from Burma. Sometimes I wonder, like, they, like every semester I see like 30, 40, 60, 100 Buddhist students are studying at the university. They're living a wonderful life here. I don't know who financed their education, how they are living a luxury life in the United States and getting the education that they need. So what's going on with the Rohingya community? Why we don't have a group of Rohingya who can only focus on their education, who can focus on their politics, who can focus on different aspects of our lives? Because now just bringing refugees to the United States is not a solution. It's a resettlement. You are giving me just paper. No, that's not the solution. My solution is that if when you bring me to the United States, you have to make sure I get the education that I need to make a change for my community here and abroad. But now people are coming here, they end up working, they have to become self-sufficient within 3 months. How? Like, wow, how? I don't speak the language, I don't understand the Western society, and you want me to become self-sufficient within 3 months and then
mm,
become an advocate for my community here and abroad. It will never happen. That's why we have leaders, but we are working individually, but our work is not powerful enough to make a change, because we need financial support. We
mm.
need to work out. We need to unite our work. Then we can lead our community. And again, leading a illiterate community will never be easy. That's why education is very important for our community. If we don't get an education for our young children now, then we have 100 issues, and over time we have millions of issues that the world will face.
Thank you so much for that, Imran. Mohammed or Asima, if you would like to.
Okay, thank you. Let me give some recommendation. Burmese government never recognized Rohingya. According to my study, I have been advocating almost 20 years Since 2010, I moved to US as a student visa, international student visa. When I landed to United States, I started advocating for Rohingya people, talking different people, civil society leader, university, and then US official. Every day I'm trying to raise Rohingya crisis to others. Burmese political mindset very dangerous. They want totally destroy Rohingya to eliminate all of them, if possible. They are ready to fight. If any country go against military, for example, United States willing to or to take a military action to Burmese military for Rohingya people. They are ready to fight. They are ready to fight. They don't want to give Rohingya citizenship right, fundamental right. They are determined to destroy Rohingya people from with the help of China, with the support of China. China already bought Arkhan land. They already occupied Arkhan land. Burmese government already sold Arkhan state to Chinese government. They can survive easily, even though sanction, sanction. Thousand sanction can go. I can say that. Before coup, 2021, I predict 2020 is going to be coup. This life is still there. Facebook live still there. No politician, no Burmese, even the Burmese politician, they didn't believe that it's going to be coup. How I predict? Because American education give me political idea. My study give me political idea how to predict. Burmese people is surprising how Maung you predict is going to be coup. Yes, why not? It's possible. 100% possible is going to be the coup. When I talked to the US official last May, one official asked me question, Maung, if Burmese military change civilian government, we try to remove the Burmese government, give the civilian authority, do you get a freedom? Rohingya people will get a free? I say totally no. Even though civilian government come, we will not get freedom. We will not get citizenship. That's the Burmese mentality. I can give you 1,000 guarantee. Never will change. But international community still don't believe that. Don't believe that. I say go against the Burmese military, change the authority, and change the civilian government. No, impossible. That's the right time to fight for the Rohingya people, to fight for freedom for Rohingya. I talked to official last May. Don't believe.
Are you saying that
NUG is using Rohingya people to get international support. There are many NUG officials committed they collaborate with the Burmese military against Rohingya people when they are in office, when they have a power with Aung San Suu Kyi,
So are you advocating for a separate land for the Rohingya, their own state?
No, I am not advocating for separate land. I am advocating for confederation. We need confederation to live freely for this land. We need international support, international monitoring, safe zone, at least safe zone. When we talk May, we talk also State Department. I raised the question, we need a safe zone. If you want to save us, no choice at all. No choice at all. Only you have to send the military, US Navy, to the Arkhan state or safe zone to collaborate with international community, OIC country, and then you can create the safe zone. Only two options to save Rohingya in Arkhan state. That's my political analysis. I can dare to talk anyone. I have a vision. how to solve the problem, but no one support us. How we can implement our vision? I am every day working, thinking, talking people from the ground. We have a vision, we have a plan. We need a support. I swear, I have fully confidence. If American people, American Muslim Ummah give a space in Washington DC with the 5-6 staff to travel around the world within 2-3 years, totally can change entire Rohingya situation, educationally, politically, culturally, economically. Why not? Everything possible in the US. Everything possible in the US. But Muslim Ummah, even though in the United States have a lot of Muslim Ummah, good leader, politician, educated people, no one willing to talk about the Rohingya genocide. No one willing to help us, support us. Give us
Well,
the technical support. Give us the technical support. We know how to tackle the Burmese military.
Well, I'd like to give some time to Azimah as we close out the show. We're at the end of our hour. Azimah, some final words from you.
Yes, I want to see many changes as a young generation because we have been suffering for years. I've been hearing stories from my grandmas, their great grandmas. So it's been for years, but this is time. We need to see a lot of changes. The first thing I want to see is of course, we want to be recognized as a Rohingya citizen in Burma. So I would like to see changes in Burmese constitution that Rohingya are the citizen of Myanmar, of Burma. And I also want to see for the current situation, I want to have Rohingya leaderships in for the current situation. We don't have, if you look around, there is no leaders, political leaders, lawyers. We don't have any kind of government position that are held by Rohingya people. So I want to see that change because I believe having is as a Rohingya members, if I am able to make rules, I'm able to make policies for our own people, that will favor more than if someone else is making the rules for us. So I want to see leadership's role in the government. And I want to see more that US or Canada or developed countries offers a scholarship for students from Bangladesh, from Malaysia, from third world who are not able to pursue higher educations, because I believe if we are able to speak up for our own people by our own people, that will make a big change. Because now every rules, all the advocates, most of the activists are from different communities and they don't know much, just like we do. So I want to see that change. That if you look in the history of bringing international students from Burma, you will not see a single Rohingya came from Burma with the student visa in the US for education. None. So I want to see that change where most students from the Burma can come straight to the US for higher educations, one scholarships. And for the Bangladesh, I would like to see changes on child protections, because I believe there are child trafficking at the moment, and gender-based violence. And I also see they are lack of water, sanitation, hygiene, education, and we need these supports from international communities. And I hope this change will bring more changes for our community.
Well, thank you so much to all three of you for being here. And I know it's a very difficult conversation to be able to go over past wounds and current sores. But hopefully all three of you, are beacons of light in the community. You've, against all odds, managed to make these wonderful advances for yourself, and in you're inspiring so many more across the world who listen to you and listen to your stories. So inshallah, we know one beautiful thing about being Muslim is that we know that everything is in Allah's hands, and He could change a situation in a second. He just has to say be. And so all our prayers and action is with you all. And we really are grateful for your time. Thank you so much for being here.